Hello, how are you guys? Happy Sunday! Today is Sunday. I can't believe it's already February the 5th. And of course, we're in the lovely year of our Lord's 2023 AD. So, I hope you guys are having a wonderful and awesome day. I usually don't do the full introduction of the date that way, but it's just crazy that we are already in February, the 5th of the month, and we're in the year 2023. I'm an 80s kid, so when they used to talk about the millennium, and during our time, guys, during our times, there was all kind of apocalypse movies. You think you got zombie stuff out now. We had some dark-centered stuff as well. Day of the Dead, not Day of the Dead, I'm sorry. What was it? Night of the Living Dead, right? Day of the Dead, I totally respect. Night of the Living Dead, though, scared the crap out of me, okay? And so we were really, just trained that the apocalypse is going to happen. It's going to be really, really dark. It's going to be a doomsday. And it's going to happen as soon as the clock strikes 2000. So to now be 23 years after 2000, when they were saying everything was going to shut down, computers are going to shut down, everything's going to go right back to zero. Everybody's freaking out oh my God. And I graduated 2000. So it's what's going on? What's going on? We had no clue what was going to take place in 2000. And now 23 years later, life is still going on. We're still existing and thriving. And that's amazing, to now be seated in this space in 2023. It's great. It's great. Especially when you look at so many people who weren't able to make it this long. It's a blessing. It truly, truly is. So I'm here today. I'm kind of playing, if you will. I'm trying to get my hair maneuvered right with this light, and the light is great. And I want to give a shout out to my boys. They did this whole studio setup. Good job. Thank you. Hey, Coach Play. That's my husband with a I. This is American Sign Language. I, and not a Y. An I. Coach Play. Check him out. Go to his page. He will be able to work with you regardless if you're local or if you are out of state, out of the country. He does virtual as well. He's a fitness trainer, a personal trainer, and a nutritionist. Go to his page. He's here on Instagram. He's also on Facebook and other social media platforms, and just a wonderful motivator and encourager and motivator. And he will definitely make sure that whatever goals that you have, he will coach you through it. It's not just him training you through it. He's going to coach you through it, which means you're also going to receive a life lesson and be able to elevate spiritually as well as physically. So, Coach Play with an I. Coach Play. All right. So I thank my wonderful husband for being out here with me. I was doing virtual church earlier and, got offline to now be able to do our live together, because this is a pressing live. I'm telling you, Spirit of the Lord was just pressing. I get this live done. So I'm here today with you guys to get this live done because it's an important subject. It is really an important subject. I'm going to tell you what we're talking about. We are talking about, why is Black-centric storyline important? And you may feel why are we talking about that today? Because, I still think that that's a good question. If you have a why, I have a little hair sticking up somewhere. There we go. Let's flatten you out. Thank you, Empress. Love you. I love you too, King Emperor. You know that. Always. That's my king. Always. So, we got King of Kings. That's Jesus. My husband is my king. So, that's my King Emperor. I love you too. All right. Every time I talk to my husband, I have to take a pause because I got to remember you distract me in a lovely way. All right. Getting back to our subject today, guys. Why is Black-centric storyline important? As you know, this is our show together. We talk about storyline. We talk about character development. We talk about being able to create outlines and being able to see how, even if you're doing fashion or you're doing outdoor photos, you're taking random pictures, how you create a storyline, even if it's just in one post, and being able to actualize it and have a definition for the characters that you're presenting to us. That's what we talk about on here. So today, we're talking about, why is Black-centric storyline important? And we're talking about it because, guess what, guys? It's Black History Month. Boom, boom, boom. Those are my fireworks. It's Black History Month, guys. So many of us know about Black History Month, but then there's some of us, especially if you're younger and you're in this modern day era, or even if you're older, right? they may not have talked about Black History Month back in the 60s or 50s or 40s and 30s and no one. I don't think it goes beyond that in the 20s. You may have been in the 1920s. That's okay. I think that's awesome. Anyways, they weren't talking about Black History Month. You may have a lot of different questions about it, and you may not actually ask them, And even, it doesn't matter what race you are. You could be white, you could be Chinese, you could be Mexican, you could be from Thailand, it doesn't really matter what country that you're in, where you're from. You yourself could be Black, and you still are like, what is Black History Month? They never did talk about this in school. So right now, there's a lot of different challenges and themes going on as far as photography, being able to post something with kente fabric. What is kente fabric? Mud print. That is actually literally a type of fabric. Kente fabric has a particular design, and mud print is actually made with mud. There's just all different kind of challenges. I even participated in one for a family cookout. And so that's an important aspect to the culture of Black people. So you're going, what is Black History Month? Why is this important? Why don't we celebrate other races of diverse backgrounds during their month? And actually, other races do have other months that's significant to them. But right now, February is significant for African Americans, and we call this Black History Month. Now, this may be something that is new to some people and may not be to others. I do want to start this off with a quote. And the quote is, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." I'll repeat it. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Now, many of us have heard this before, and you're probably thinking right now, oh, Winston Churchill said that. Actually, Winston Churchill paraphrased it, because this was originally said by George Santayana, and it came from his book, The Life of Reason. The Life of Reason in 1905. You may ask, who is George Santayana? And I'm so praying that I'm saying his name right, but his actual name was Jorge Agustin Nicolas Ruiz de Santayana y Borges. And he was born on December 16th, 1863. He passed September 26, 1952. He was a Spanish and American philosopher, essayist, poet, and novelist. He's widely known for his aphorisms. And I was like, please don't mess this word up when you say it. When I wrote it down, I was like telling myself, don't mess it up. And I just did. Aphorisms such as, only the dead have seen the end of war. Only the dead have seen the end of war. And the definition of beauty as pleasure objectified. And I've gotten all this information from Wikipedia. You can be able to look him up as well. A very, very interesting philosopher who had a lot of different things that we say and paraphrase without even knowing that it was him. So again, going back to that quote, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. It's important for each and every one of us to remember our past as a culture, as a nation, so that we don't go back and make the same mistakes and have to deal with the aftermath of the consequences. It's important as an individual. You learn from the people that you interact with, for example, what kind of people have certain con artist traits and how they may make you laugh and smile, but they actually don't mean it. And then when you meet someone else who has a similar trait, if you've gotten burnt by numerous people or just one person, and someone else has that same kind of trait, you go, ooh, you remind me of a con artist. And then you don't associate with them, or you do, but you have an understanding of how that person is. So being able to remember our past is important for us to be able to function in our present as well as to exist in our future. You need to understand and really analyze, dissect, and diagnose anything you can do to know what happened in the past that can help you to have preventive measures in the future, to have a better future, right? So this is an important quote because it definitely does relate to Black History Month and why we as a people and as a nation do and should celebrate it. And so that's what I want to bring to you today. I want you to have a better understanding about what Black History Month is, so that when these themes and challenges for photography are coming at you, you don't feel like this is something that only Black people are going to participate in, or only a certain group of people are going to participate in, and it's not for you. Black History Month, by the time we're done talking today, I want you to feel like Black History Month is a part of your history, and that being able to create these awesome and amazing photos is something that feels natural for you, and that you feel like you're involved regardless of what shade of skin that you have, no matter what race that you're affiliated with, no matter your creed or nationality. I want you to feel like Black History Month is important to you. because there is someone very important that we all pretty much relate to and like, and his name is Morgan Freeman. Right? How many people know Morgan Freeman? I would say raise your hand. If we were in a classroom setting, a workshop, I'd be like, raise your hand. I'll raise your hand for you, okay? Who knows Morgan Freeman? We do. He was God, right? On Evan Almighty and Bruce Almighty. That's how we know him the best. Then he was, of course, on numerous movies. I don't want to just limit him to being a God archetype on those movies, because he was on numerous movies, an amazing actor in the past and present, and we're just all very fortunate to be able to grow up, no matter how old you are, in the existence of Morgan Freeman. Very articulate. And if you've ever watched, oh my goodness, I think it's Louis Gates Jr., Family Roots. Have you guys ever seen that on PBS? Come on now. He brings in different celebrities and he goes through their back history, and come to find out, Morgan Freeman comes from a history of free men. Literally, like his people were not in slavery. He was on there and it was amazing. I was like, wow. But he's a very interesting, complex, yet not complex, very simple individual, just a very distinguished voice. Even if you hear him do like a narrative or a voiceover, you're like, that's Morgan Freeman. You know what I mean? Like, you just tell. He has like that rich, texturized voice. You know who he is, right? And in many ways, okay, honestly, he's like the father of Hollywood, the Black father of Hollywood. Just honestly. We may not all acknowledge it, but when you see Morgan Freeman on the screen or you hear his voice, you just feel this like pull, like your dad's talking to you, right? You're like, that's daddy. That's Morgan Freeman. So I want to give you a quote that Morgan Freeman said. Morgan Freeman said, Black history is American history. Once again, I'm going to say it again. This is an important quote. I'm going to put a little asterisk. In fact, I'm going to do it in red. This is one of the pens my husband gave me. He knows I like different colors. All right, Morgan Freeman. He said, I'm like, if I was in school, I'd have you guys like write this down. I'm going to put it in with this little red pen coloration so that I can remember to put that into the caption, because I want you guys to really catch this. Black history is American history. It's American history, guys. That means no matter what your nationality is, what your creed is, what you go by, what your race is, this is American history. You're born an American. You're on American soil. Our history is your history. Your history is our history. Just like we, are receiving information about Columbus and the Titanic and the Pilgrims, anything you can think of, you too are receiving information about our Black history, although it's not really publicized in school, because it's part of history. So Black History Month, although celebrated for 1 month, is just as important. We're trying to cram as much as we can in that 1 month with all these different inventors and politicians and just all these different people who have been successful in our history, regardless of how minor or how major that they play in history. We want you guys to know about them because we only have that 1 month to really cram all the information in. Hi, my froggy stuff. If you guys do hear my notification, that is actually my fault. Traditionally, my husband takes off all my notifications and puts it on Do Not Disturb, and I may do that in a minute because I do hear my notifications going off, and I didn't do that today. So that's literally my fault. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Hopefully my phone lets me. Let's see. Okay, guys, I apologize. There was a pause. I was making sure to put that on Do Not Disturb because there's already been 2 notifications that went through, more than likely my YouTube, and I didn't want to have that sound continuing throughout our lives. So I apologize, but thank you for being with me, staying with me. All right, Morgan Freeman said Black history is American history. Like I said, by the end of this live, I want you to feel like our Black History Month is our Black History Month. Us as a nation. O-U-R. O-U-R. Not just our, like, oh, because we're Black. It's our history that we're sharing with you so you can be informed. No, that is our history. This is a part of our history. You're born on American soil. It's our history. No matter what your shade is. It's our history. All right. So there is an article that I also read. You guys know I'm so big on research. It's really important to me. I don't want to come at you and give you opinions or what I think or what I thought. I want you to understand what is being written either in an article or a journal. And then I may give you my perspective, most definitely. But I'm going to do like, St. Paul, and I'm going to say to you, like, this is my opinion. This is my opinion. If you read the Bible, in the Bible, Paul is continuously like, this is my opinion. He's like, it's not God, this one's mine. And I want to give a little shout out right here to my little ones, right here, my little ministers. Let me tell you guys, before I move on, it was so important to me to showcase Sheeta in the middle because of the women who have made a difference in my life as a Black American woman. Maya Angelou, love her, look up to her. Here we go, CJ Walker. 2 women who inspired me about what it means to rise up from no matter what position that you are in life and become someone. And I am just really, really thankful for who they are in our culture, but even more importantly, who they are in our American fabric. You understand me? Really. And I want to give a shout out right now to Mattel. Barbie, Mattel, keep kicking it with these inspirational women. Oh my gosh, because these are women that I can't touch or feel in reality, right? But in Barbie form, honey, they're right here with me. So I am so thankful for the inspirational dolls that Mattel, Mattel, puts out, because it really does speak to us and it allows us to be able to feel history on a deeper level, even if we don't have the chance in this physical sense to meet the people that inspire us. So thank you. All right, now as I go on, there was an article that comes from The Hill, and it was published February 28th, 2019 at 12:30 p.m. And it's by Representative Marcia L. Fudge, Democrat, Ohio. And this is her quote. Carter G. Woodson, and don't get caught up on the political aspect. If it's Democrat, Republican in the middle, it doesn't. Let's listen to what she says about Carter G. Woodson, because this is not a political conversation. This is an understanding that you're seeing a lot of different photo challenges go on. A lot of this is Black History Month. Some of your people that you may follow are posting photos that may have more of an Afrocentric vibe or an Afrocentric storyline. And you may be questioning yourself like, why is that? Why is this going on? And like I said, it doesn't matter what race that you are, what your skin color is, because the reality is Black History Month is not being expressed or talked about. Hi, thank you for joining so much. It's not really being talked about in our schools or where you work at. So you may not know what Black History Month is. And that's why we're having this conversation today. So this person, Representative Fudge, said Carter G. Woodson, the father of Negro Week, later named Black History Month, once said, when you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. When he envisioned designating several days to celebrate African American people and culture, Dr. Woodson understood that slavery must not be the only narrative for African Americans. And that's end of quote. Okay, so I'm coming to you today. We're talking about why is Black-centric storyline important. You're seeing a lot of different photo challenges right now from people that you follow who are either hosting the event or they may be involved with this event, and you're going, what is going on? What is this? So I'm going to now speak to you. Hopefully this won't be a lengthy live, but honestly, even if it is, it's worth it, right? Because this may be a question, it's a burning question for you, and you just feel too shy to ask someone because you don't know how people are going to receive it, if they're going to be okay with it. But it's a question for you. What is Black History Month? Why are we celebrating this? And it doesn't make you a racist. I do want to put that out there. It doesn't make you a colorist. It doesn't make you someone that's ignorant. I mean, like, honestly, it's not being talked about. It's not being, it's not being taught. In the Bible, and you will hear me reference the Bible a lot. If you don't like it, just go ahead and scoot on over, unfollow. Just when I say scoot on over, like, if this is already pre-recorded and you're listening to it and you're like, she's talking about the Bible again, then just skip over it. If you love it, then just keep listening, okay? But, in the Bible, we're constantly told and taught about our history, right? And so there may be questions that you have, and it may not be talked to you, and it may not be spoken. And in the Bible, there's this part that says, like, how can the people receive unless the preacher speaks it. Like, how can they know it? It has to be taught. The whole Deuteronomy. Hi, Yasmin Rivera. How are you doing? I'm so glad to see your name on here, sis. We've been praying. We're going to keep on praying. And I'm going to put it like that. All right. So in the word, it does say, how can they know if it's not spoken? So it has to be spoken to be received and learned. If you are not learning about Black History Month in the schools that you've been to, that you're going to, the offices that you're at, the people that you hang around with, how will you know? But a lot of times we make each other feel very shameful whenever someone doesn't know something. And I want you guys to not feel shameful about it. Let's have this conversation without dialogue. So I'm talking to you, we're having a conversation, but you're not having a dialogue where you feel like everyone now knows I don't know about Black History Month, or I do know about Black History Month, but let's talk about it further. So that's what we're doing. All right, so my children have this book that came from their great Aunt Edna. Thank you so much, great Aunt Edna. And this book, as you can tell, it is worn out. It is worn out. It has gone through children having to write their reports on Black heroes and just, put into the bookshelf the wrong way, which also has caused this. I'm a little of a stickler like my dad. My dad was very big on books and the treatment of those books. And when I see them put these books in wrong, it just like, it taps a nerve for me. It's like scratching nails on the whole chalkboard. It bothers me. There are some books right now in the bookshelf that are not in their right. And if you children are listening now, I want it corrected. I want it corrected now. All right. Black Heroes. This is a book from the great Aunt Edna. And so I'm going to read to you about Carter G. Woodson. And we have other books by Carter G. Woodson. But this right here, I like because it gives you a general, biography of who this man is. And it allows you to be introduced to him. So where you could go, I want to know more. All right. So, and I do want to put out a disclaimer. I wrote myself a note. This is disclaimer. Disclaimer, this is true of Western culture. Maybe where you're at, Black History Month is widely known. In fact, when I talk about some of the experiences, and I don't even think I'm going to be delving into too deep of the experiences of Blacks as much as it is from the entertainment and storyline perspective and script perspective, keeping in line with anyone can playwright. Nonetheless, this may not be true in the culture that you come from. And you may be watching this and going, really? Wow, we don't have that here. And that's okay too. Stay tuned. Stay with me because we still need you. All right? We're all in this together. We're a global community. You guys know, I call you, if you're in this Dow community, you've heard me call you sis. You've heard me call you bro. Why? Because we're all connected. I do not care about what your outside shade is. You are my sister. You are my brother. We are connected. It does not take for me to have to look at someone who has brown skin like me and say that we're connected, because sometimes those can be the same people I don't even get along with. The shade of the color on your skin does not denote if we're fam or foe, family or enemies. That does not tell me about the character of who you are. If you know me and you've been traveling with me since 2020, you know that I am all about character. But it is important to me in that same hand to know about my history. So that's what I'm sharing with you, because I see you as my family and I want us to be on one accord with each other on the same level. I want you guys to understand where my perspective is as far as being a Black American female. Hi, how are you, Erica's Dollhouse? Thank you for joining. I want you to understand who I am because I regard you as my friends and my family, and I want to be able to relate to you, have you relate to me, and have you, like I said, by the end of this, to understand that Black history is all of our history. It's not just for Black people, it's for all of us. Hi, thank you for joining again. So we're talking about Carter G. Woodson. It's just going to be a brief biography. I was about to say synopsis because I stay in, story and script and movie mode so much. But a biography of who this great man is and was and is. All right, 1865 to 1950. Energy never dies. That's why I still say is, because energy never dies. Energy, when you look it up and you talk, and you're able to get a description of it, is something that can never be created, and never be destroyed. So it still is. We're still learning and talking about Black History Month, right? So it still is. All right. You catch that later. 1875, 1950. Carter G. Woodson. He was a scholar, historian, and journalist. He founded Black History Month and is known as the father of Black history. Carter G. Woodson was born in Virginia in 1875. Both of his parents were formerly enslaved. For most of his childhood, Carter was unable to attend school regularly because the family was extremely poor. And we know that to be true because we're during that Reconstruction era when there's no, when the emancipation has became legalized and there's no more slavery. We then see, I know that was not, stated correctly grammatically. I said there was no more, but there no longer existed slavery in that particular era. We then see that slaves were promised 40 acres and a mule. They did not get the 40 acres and a mule, so they didn't have anything to start off with. Some people go, well, why is it that Black people, after slavery didn't prosper? And of course, we look at Tulsa and we're like, they were prospering, but then there was the Tulsa massacre in which all these other people, that the whites of that time went into their community and killed them and totally damaged them financially as well as, of course, family-wise. They killed off their family members. And so we say, well, there's Tulsa as an example. But one of the reasons why so many Black people do not have what they call, quote unquote, owed money, and I'm not saying none of them do, because some of them do, okay? But some of them don't, because when Reconstruction era hit, they weren't given the 40 acres and a mule. They had nothing to start off with. They were dirt poor. So we see that being true with Carter G. Woodson. And I want to put out a shout out to my soul sister, Life in Dalton. We have about 3 lives that were done together. You can check it out in the past. That is my sis. How are you doing? So glad that you're on here. I saw that you DM'd me, but I couldn't get it right then because I was, putting all this mica makeup on, which I've said to you guys. I'm like, once finances get straight, getting some Lush makeup that is mica free is happening. Hello, because I don't like that idea of being a part of oppression and death, because people are dying mining for this mica to put as an ingredient for makeup. That is what I'm telling you. Get you some non-mica makeup, no matter. I'm like, boys and girls, listen. Get you some mica-free makeup. That's where I'm going to. So after this is gone, and honestly, regardless if it's all the makeup is gone, get some play money that doesn't go to bills or having to buy diapers, whatever it is. I'm telling you, I'm getting some mica-free makeup, and I'm throwing this out no matter how much makeup is. Throwing it out. I refuse to be part of oppression. So right now, I put this on, but I'm telling you, it's not without tears. I'm like, man, I hate that I didn't know. But the more you know. Life in Dalton is my sister. I am so grateful for this platform because we are able to relate. And thank you. Thank you, sis. Me, my androgynous look. I love it. But she said, you look beautiful. Thank you, Life in Dalton. That is my sis. And I'm so glad that she's on here. We connected on this spiritual level. And I have a few other sis on here that is inexplainable. And the only thing you can say is just that my soul connected with your soul from whenever we were souls. You understand what I mean? Like, it is prehistoric and yet modern in here and now. And that's why I call her my soul sis. And this is why I say that our history, we're talking today, sis, about why is Black-centric storyline important. There are so many different flyers. We put our virtual flyers out and our photo challenges and our photo themes, and we're just like, kente fabric, mud print, Soul Train, what's another one that we put out there? 1970s, dance hall, all these different things that we're throwing out there. Black Panther, Wakanda theme, and for someone else, and I don't care what race you are. Like I said, you can be Black yourself or African American, however which way you may want to title yourself. And you may be going, well, what is Black History Month, and not able to articulate it. Or even feeling like, why is this important? I don't have a problem with it. My best friends are Black. I love, people of all different races, but why are we just celebrating Black History Month when everyone should be celebrated? I don't have a problem with that. And that's why we're going to address it, because to me, we are all global family and we need to embrace it no matter what your race is or your background. Not only one, we are connected, but most importantly, our history is all shared. So it's not so much as like Black history and is separate from everyone else, but understanding that our history is not being included. And that's part of the reason why this is being, spread and talked about, and why there's a month to celebrate. So that's what we're talking about in summary. All right. So he was born in 1875 to 1950, Carter G. Woodson. Let me tell you who he was. He was born in Virginia in 1875. Both of his parents were formerly enslaved. And for most of his childhood, Carter was unable to go to school regularly because of the family. They were extremely poor. In order to help out and to make money for the family, he worked on the family farm and in local coal mines. I just got done talking to you guys about mica, which is being mined by children who are literally dying daily, monthly, yearly, in mass numbers because they are mining mica so we can have shiny faces. I looked at all my makeup today. All of it said mica. I was so livid would be a nice word for cussing, right? I was livid. So nonetheless, like I said, once we get some play money, some money that doesn't have to go to bills or diapers or food or whatever else, I'm getting Lush makeup, which is a brand of makeup that does not carry mica, because I'm so just disappointed and upset. And I never want to support anything that has to do with, oppression or child labor. So shop mica free, boys and girls. Carter's father encouraged him to be kind and respectful to others, but also to expect respect from them. When Carter was able to go to class, he was a good student. He continued to fight for his education, going on to graduate from Berea College in Kentucky. Woo! Woo, 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 woo. I'm celebrating right now, pink Barbie world, because I'm in Kentucky. I'm in the Derby City. Yes, I'm in the bluegrass, whatever you're going to call it. I'm here where the horses race and the grass is fresh, because my mom moved me here. She did. But I'm here and I'm stationed here because obviously the universe, wants me to be here. This is where God told me to be, and I'm here. And if I wasn't here, I wouldn't have met my husband, at least not in the time frame that I did, and we would not have the amazing 10 children that we do. I'm a mom of 10 and I love it. My little wonderful flowers of the earth are upstairs right now with Daddy, and I thank God for him. He's watching all 10 of them, and we have from a 1.5-year-old to a 14-year-old. And stair step, obviously. And honestly, real talk, we have our moments. I love them. Why is it that you love these little creatures that cause you such distress? You know what I mean? But then they're so awesome. Really are. So motherhood is good. I love it. I'm actually reading to you right now from one of their books that they got from their great aunt Edna. So he went to Berea College in Kentucky, and I celebrated. And then he attended the University of Chicago, which I have some cousins in Chicago, and he's my daddy. My husband has sorry. He has some family in Chicago as well. His aunt was in Chicago, and he still has some family there. And Harvard University is where Carter G. Woodson went. He became the second African American to receive a PhD from Harvard. And the first was, guess it, you know it. Good job. It was W.E.B. Du Bois. He was the first one. W.E.B. Du Bois. In case someone was like, I didn't know it, you can write it down. W.E.B. Du Bois. W.E.B. Du Bois. That's D-U, and then a capital, and actually a space, capital B-O-I-S. Awesome and amazing. I study up on him. I'm convinced that I was during that era of the W.E.B. Du Bois time. And, oh my gosh, what's his name? Booker T. Washington. I'm like, wait a minute, I know it. I'm convinced that I was in that time. All right, so let's go for it. I'm sorry. Carter continues his long career in education, working in public schools in Washington, D.C., and as the Dean of College of Arts and Sciences of Howard University, which is a historically black college. He had a great passion for promoting the study of African American history, which was overlooked and not valued at the time. To this end, he started the Association for the Negro Life and History in 1915. The goal of the organization was to give black scholars opportunities to study black history and publish their work. And then in 1916, Carter began to publish a journal, and the name of the journal was the Journal of Negro History, which is still being published today. It's now called the Journal of African American History. One of the interesting things about being in America, and I don't know if it's true for other nations and other cultures and continents and races and people of different nationalities and ethnicities, but we as a group of people have gone from being called the N-word to Negro to colored to Afro-American to now become, I think it was like Afro-American, then Black American to now African American. And the same can be true of whites as well, because they've been called whites, Anglo-Saxons, Caucasians, I think it was like Europeans. It was Europeans, and then there was that distinction that was made as far as with the continent, and then it was Anglo-Saxon, Caucasian, and then white. I could be wrong on how those are interchanged, as far as, if we looked at the timeline, which one would be first over the other. So all of us have experienced different name changes, and that's one of the reasons why that journal went from Negro history to then African American history. He also wrote many important books, including The Miseducation of the Negro. In this book, he argued that schools in the United States condition black people to accept a low status in society and to take pride and to not take pride in their heritage. The book is still taught in universities today. Carter's lifelong goal of advancing the study of black history was realized when he successfully fought for public schools to dedicate 1 week per year as Negro History Week. I'm going to take a quick pause right there, because initially black history was only taught for 1 day. He had it for 1 day, and then it progressed to a week, and now we celebrate a whole month. And who knows? Once we as a people get a grasp of that, our history is not just for Black Americans, but this is a history for all of Americans. This will be something maybe celebrated all throughout the year, and it'll become just part of regular history. Like us talking about a different aristocrat or politician that was Black in the 1700s won't be a surprise to us. It'll just be part of us learning. Hi, thank you so much for joining, guys. I'm going to send you guys a hello, a heart, and a wave. May God bless you and your loved ones. You too. Thank you so much for saying that. Sola etola. I do believe I'm saying that right, and I could be saying it wrong. And my apologies. Give me grace on that if I am. So I thank you for joining so much. And then to Tiger Love Dolls, thank you for joining. All right, so he also wrote many important books, including The Miseducation of the Negro. In this book, he argued that schools in the United States condition Black people to accept a low status in society and to not take pride in their heritage. This book is still taught in universities today. Carter's lifelong goal of advancing the study of Black history was realized, here you go, when he successfully fought for public schools to dedicate 1 week per year as Negro History Week. Carter's legacy is clear. The week he envisioned eventually became a month known as dun, 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 Black History Month, which is where we're at right now in February, which is still celebrated every February to this day. There goes a quote that he says. I love quotes, and I'm so thankful and grateful that my kids love quotes too. It's a blessing. Quotes are so important, right? And it goes right back to that initial quote that I read to you guys. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. And that was from George Santayana. All right, here goes his quote. The mere imparting of information is not education. Above all things, The effort must result in making a man think and do for himself. And that's where I'm at with this, guys. I'm hoping and praying that my conversation with you today is going to have you guys to do. We don't just want to sit up here and get the information and sit on it and not do anything. You have dogs. You have photography. I guarantee you, you got a diverse doll in your stack. Go ahead and put it out there. Even if you don't have one, if you just have your mini-me saying, hey, I didn't know. Or you have your mini-me saying, I celebrate. Or you can participate. You can put your kente on your doll. You can have them go out to a grill, a cookout, a family gathering, a barbecue. You can do that. You can still participate. I don't want you to feel like you're outside of any photo challenge that is presented or anything that's presented, because our history is our history. The mere imparting of information is not education. Above all things, the effort must result in making a man think and do for himself. And that was literally the quote by Carter G. Woodson. I want for us to understand as a whole why it is important that Black History Month exists, but most importantly, why, in the words of Morgan Freeman, why he said Black history is American history. I look up to him. So many of us do. He's an amazing actor. And you may or may not call him this, but an activist. And not the activist as far as creating this separation of identity, but for us to understand the importance of us being united as family. Hi, excuse me. Family of Win 2001. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, how are you? I apologize. What did Austin Powers say? It's like it's better out than in, right? I came back up to say hello. Love Austin Powers. I love it. All right, that's going to get off subject. All right. Now, we are going to talk about something that I saw online. It was a post by @Barbie Paints. If you don't follow her page, you should. She is amazing. We have a live together. You can always look it back up. If I haven't deleted it, if I deleted it, then you need to go to my YouTube page, which is of the same name, @SacredPara, one word. Give a thumbs up, right? Subscribe, follow that page so you can get notifications. But there is, in fact, a live that we did before. I don't think that it's on this particular page anymore. It may be. Catch it if you can. If you can't, go to YouTube. @Barbie Paints and I talked, and that's @Barbie_Paints. Amazing person. I'm so glad that she's also my sis, my soul sis. I love her. She's amazing. She is wonderful. @Barbie Paints. I call her my Frida. That's one of my most favorite artists, next to Bob Ross. First, why can't I say it's like the first? It's like right around the same time of me discovering my love for art. @Frida Kahlo. Amazing. Amazing. I know I said because we're in this Instagram world, but I'm telling you, Frida Kahlo, she has such perspective and in-depth introspection. Just amazing. Amazing. Please look up Frida Kahlo, and I call @Barbie Paints my Frida. So she put out this post recently, and she's having a weekly Black History display on her work desk. Go ahead, girl. She's going to be changing out every week to let people be aware and to know about Black history. I was like, come on now. That is beautiful. It's awesome. I love her. She is just, hey, don't get it wrong and don't get it twisted. She is going to celebrate any kind of mission or cause that you have, because she is just that beautiful. Just literally, she's a beautiful person. Love her. Check out her page. No worries. Love the live. Hi, Sacred. Hi, Fairy to Win 2001. She is really good. 100. Yes, she is. She's so sweet. Life in Dahlem. Go to her page. Go to her page. Go to her page. Amazing. 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 Use of natural light. Use of just this moodiness with the lights in the bar. It just really makes you feel like you're there in the atmosphere. Love her photography. Love her storyline. Check her out. Check her out. Check her out. It's Life in Dahlem. All right, so let's talk. Barbie Paints said that she's going to be changing out her display every month, and that's what really sparked for me this conversation that we're going to have today. And we're going to have this conversation no matter how long it is. I'm someone that in my mind, especially since my husband's with all 10 kids, I'm like, I don't want to leave them up there too long with them. Because I know how my babies are, you're thinking of piranhas, they're like, Daddy, I don't want him up there too long by himself. This is a 2-man job, right? So I don't want to leave him too long. But I do want us to be able to understand, like I said, by the end of this conversation, without dialogue, that this is our history. It's not just for Black people, it's for all of us. So we're going to take however long. Just real talk. So in a lot of our action-packed movies, because this is about anyone can do what? Playwright. That's what's on that title. Playwright. Be able to play, have fun, enjoy ourselves, write, whatever it is. Even if you're just like, she's wearing, a certain name brand and you're doing fashion photos, guess what? You still have a story when you made that. When you're showing your doll in front of a theme park or out there in the woods or you're camping, there's a story, right? In front of a restaurant, there's a story. Story is important. This is why when we see a commercial, and that commercial can be 3 seconds, 21 seconds, 50 seconds long, a minute and 30 seconds, however long the commercial is, we can literally shed tears because we connected with the story of the commercial. I'm so serious. I have cried on commercials. I'm thinking of one in particular. I think it was like right before Christmas. And this little girl was like, had her little message at the window that she would show the neighbor. And it was like a little cute, little white little girl, just adorable. And then you have this older, beautiful Black lady, and she's putting up a message in response, and they're talking and they're communicating, and they don't see race. They don't see age. And all of a sudden, little girl starts putting up her sign. And she doesn't get a response. How many people saw that? Put your hand up. If you can't, literally put your hand up where you're at. I see you. You put your hand up. I'll put it up for you. And she's putting up this, and literally you feel the emotion that she has. Because she connected to her. They never met. And as many of us on this social media have not met, I feel connected to you. Life and doll. And like I said, you're my soul sis. We have not physically met. And there's so many of us that have not physically met. Before I met up for my doll meet with the Seasons of Bryn, we had a soul connection. And that's what that little girl had. Right then and there with the old lady who she saw as her neighbor. And when she does finally come back to the window and she has a sign, and like as an audience, only like 20 seconds has gone by, and we're already like, oh no, I think she died. She comes back, she has a sign, and you can tell maybe she was having treatment. She's got on hospital clothes, and I think she had like a bracelet, the things that would denote to you even in silence that she came from the hospital. And you're like, oh, you made this heart connection. And maybe some people didn't. I'm an empath. I feel it. So in a short amount of time, there was this connection that was made. And as writers, regardless of how you produce your photos, you're still a writer. You're wanting your audience to connect with you in that 30-second time. You want them to be able to receive in that 30-second time that this person went to the hospital and there's a connection, and it's beyond being a certain age or a certain race or being in the same house together. They had a soul connection. And that when she was missing, it hurt that little girl. And when she finally did reconnect with her through the window, it was like, wow, I feel that. And that's what we want to do as writers. We want you to connect with it, with our dolls. We want you to feel it. We want you to be able to feel it beyond the complexion and color of the doll, to feel it in a heart mode. Right? Right. So that's what we're talking about. Why is the Black-centric storyline important? And I want you, no matter if you have Black dolls, white dolls, Chinese dolls, Mexican, Latina dolls, and Latino dolls, I want you, yes, there's a difference between the A and the O. Feminine and masculine is very important. So if you're going to learn about the Spanish language, make sure that you're also paying attention to that. I just want to put that as a disclaimer and just a little note and heads up. It's out of respect. And that's what this is about. Black History Month is about respect of a culture. But understanding, I'm not just going to respect your culture, but I understand, because we're all Americans. And the best word of Morgan Freeman, Black history is American history. It's all of us. It's all of us. Okay? All right, guys, let's get to storyline. Woo! And many of your action-packed movies, and even in your rom-coms, okay? Talking about the genres of movies, action-packed, and the rom-com, oh, right? So like the laughing and the funny and the romance, and yet the shoot 'em, kill 'em, Rambo kind of style, or Predator. That was scary. It was very scary. I don't know why I brought that up. I was like, why'd you bring that up? I don't know. Okay. Predator is scary. Alright. Especially the original with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just put it out there. Don't look it up on Amazon or Google it or YouTube it. You don't want to rewatch that. That's madness. That's madness. Don't go to Predator. Alright. Wait. I get no royalties off of saying that name either. And I get no fun off of it. But a lot of times in these movies, you will see, I'm glad I have my notes, that black characters are seen as a means to an end for the sake of the primary character, which in our culture and Western world is primarily white. You want to be able to see that that character makes it to their destination or their mission safe, alive, and the help of the mission being done is by the black or diverse character. I dropped my pen. Hold on. That's okay. Nothing big dropped. I apologize. It's just that I didn't get a chance to write that. So it's done by your diverse cast, right? For them to be able to get where they need to go, whatever the destination is. Notes are really important to me. I was a huge note taker in high school and college, as you can tell. And grad school and in church. I love my notes. So important. You never know when it's going to come back up and when you need it. Very important. And it helps me remember things a lot better. So, I don't know how it is as far as like the nation, country, continent that you may be in, state, town, county. But here where I live, it is oftentimes glamorized for the main character to be a white primary main character. The protagonist. And whatever way that they need to be able to accomplish the mission or reach the destination, they will use whatever black characters or whatever characters that they need to have that happen. That could be black, that could be Latino, Latina, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, that could be Cuban, you know what I mean? That could be someone that's disabled, that could be someone that's gay, homosexual, lesbian. They don't care in Hollywood. And even with some of your Indian films, and now when I say Indian, I mean like as far as like indie films, they don't care. They don't care. They're like whatever it takes to get our primary characters, which are the protagonists, to get where they need to go. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so a lot of times we see this with the Think Impossible franchise. It must be my tea. I'm sorry. I have lemon in here, and sometimes that lemon can, cause a little bit of a, release of toxins. Okay, so I apologize. But you want to think Mission Impossible franchise, which often will do this as well. And then even the Jurassic Park World franchise. Now, when I say these name of movies, I don't want those movies and the producers and directors coming for me. Because I love these movies, okay? You guys know I'm a movie buff. I use a lot of different movies and storylines and books while we talk. Because this is about storyline. This is about character development and dialogue and the creation of being able to have a story and then to have the story endure, to give it longevity. Not just have it be one of smack dab, I'm done. I made 7 posts. I don't know what to do now. I want you to feel like I can make this story keep going. I have to force myself in order to stop in order to have another character speak. And then I bring that story back in. Do you feel me? That's what this is about. The excitement of story. So when I talk about Jurassic Park, I talk about, Titanic. It's really, really hard for me because that 17-year-old in me is like, don't you go there. Don't you go there. Don't you talk about that. Because I loved Claire Danes and I loved Leonardo DiCaprio back then. I loved him. And so it's like when I talk about that movie, it's really, really hard. Plus, I had already did like this massive study on the Titanic prior to even seeing the Titanic in high school. It's like middle school and so forth that I studied up on the Titanic. I thought it was like one of the worst things ever. But then when I found out about the unmentionables, the servants and the slaves that were in the basement that pretty much instantly drowned and died, and suffered, and they're drowning when that ship hit the iceberg. They don't talk about that. I was even more hurt. I was like, oh my God. Like, I was already hurt because people, period, died when they didn't have to. You're trying to get to a deadline by a certain time that you didn't even have to. This is how deep peer pressure is. We talk about peer pressure here on social media and in life. It's always been that way. Let's be honest, guys. So they're trying to get to a deadline that they did not have to even do to show that the Titanic was the fastest ship ever. And then they hit this iceberg and these people drowned and died when they didn't need to. They could have lived, had you just been like, hey, we'll be fast, but main thing is getting there safe. These people die, but then you find out that the ones that they didn't even count among the numbers were blacks. That hurt. That hurt. I love history. I love movies. So any of the movies and shows that I name is not because I'm sitting here going, I'm not saying I hate these movies. These are shows that I've watched and seen numerous times. My household and I, we have Mission Impossible movies. So it's not like me saying I don't have these movies. I watch movies. I love movies. We just watched Jurassic World, I think last night or the night before, as a family movie. I love this stuff. I live for this stuff, okay? I'm not separate from this stuff. This is about art. But I want you to also realize that when we watch this, who are of a diverse background, African Americans, Black Americans, Afro Americans, whatever someone may title themselves, when we see it, we may see those movies a little bit different than how you see it. Because we're seeing it and we're going, where's my face? Where's someone that looks like me? And then how is that person's storyline and character description being depicted in that movie? That's how we're seeing it. Now, for someone else who's seeing it, they may go, oh, that's funny. Oh, I'm sad. Oh, God, why did they do that? Oh, no, don't get eaten by that dinosaur on Jurassic World. But for us, we're seeing it and we're going, when's the next black person going to come up? Well, why is she doing that? Why can't she be, almost about to be eaten by the dinosaur and crying out because she needs someone to help her? Why is she grabbing a gun? We're seeing it different. And that's what I want you to understand. You will never be able to think like we're thinking. We will never be able to think like you're thinking. But let's embrace each other's history to understand that we are all history together. That's what this is about. There's no way two people can think alike. Period. I don't give a dang what the outside of your skin looks like. We cannot think alike. That's why we have this word called communication. And that's what we're doing today. We're communicating. My husband and I do not think alike. I don't want him to think like me. I don't want him to think like me. I don't want to think like him. I don't want him to think like me. We need to think separately because I'm telling you, if it weren't for the genius idea of my husband, I would not be before you today. Real talk. It took a man who was secure enough in himself to think independently to say, you need to do something that makes you happy. Sitting me upon his lap. And when he said that, from that time sprung what we have right now. Literally. I'm gonna give flowers where they're due. We don't need to think alike. He gives me different ideas. He's like, hey, why don't you do this? Hey, have you thought about this? And some things is like, okay, well, let's see what that works, and it works and doesn't work. But a lot of the stuff, it works. Because we don't think alike. And there's stuff that I may give him information on or an idea about or my perspective of. And he rolls with it and he's like, it worked, because we don't think like, he's like, if that's what the Queen Empress says, that's what it is. And so he goes with it. So we don't need to think alike to make it work. We need to appreciate and respect how each other think, and the best way that happening is through communication. That's what we're doing right now. We're communicating. We're talking, right? All right. Let's talk about what oftentimes happens. Oftentimes, the character that's gay will also be of color. The character that's homosexual. The character that is lesbian. I love me some Punky Brewster. Just introduced Punky Brewster to my kids from the 1980s. Y'all, I am like, woo! You turn around. That's part of the song. I love it. I love it. I love it. They're loving it. One thing I haven't shared with them is that now Cherry is being introduced in their older form and incarnation on Peacock. She's being introduced as the lesbian character. And I'm hurt. I'm hurt. Why? Now, not so much about being lesbian, but why is it, once again, we are compacting characters? I'm upset about it from a character development standard. That's where I'm upset about it at. It's like, why? And what I find a lot of times in Hollywood and even with your indie films is that we compact diverse characters rather than to explore and develop them as entirely separate and different individuals. So we will take a person and make them Black and Hispanic, like literally, and a female. So there's a woman character, and she's, you know, her dad's Black, her mom is Hispanic, and she's a lesbian, and she's in a wheelchair, and she has commitment issues. Boom, bam, we're done. Because now we've taken care of the factor being that we need to appease the Latino culture, need to appease the African American culture, need to appease the handicapped disabled culture, need to appease the gay, homosexual, lesbian culture. Like boom, we're done. Do you know how unfair that is? Like, to everyone represented, you might as well just have her read Braille. Are you serious, Hollywood? That's not okay. That's not okay. Every character has a right to be explored. And then they will make that one character that has all these different titles very, very flat, like one-dimensional. They'll just, oh, my bad, sorry. I'm very passionate about this. I love story. And this is the book that you want to get. Adult Play Therapy Devotional is on Amazon and ebook. It's not that much. $15.50 hardback. Come on now. Serious about this. Even if I didn't write it, I would say get it. Why? Because this book helps me daily. It is $15.50 and it's only like $2 or something like that on ebook. Get it. It's not about the money. It's about you being healthy. Listen, y'all. Listen. Explore your characters. Develop them. Don't make them one-dimensional. Give them a soul. Give them a personality. Give them flaws. Give them a hang-up. Make it where they're not freaking predictable. I get so frustrated. I'm spitting now. I'm sorry. It makes me fume. Why are we making these characters have all these titles and then turn around and just make it freaking predictable? You're like, oh, okay. I guess they're not going to cry. Imagine that. I guess they're going to get mad. I guess they're going to grab this. I guess they're going to fuss and fight. It is predictable. I guess they're going to say today and say that this is the suggestion. I know it because I've seen it like 100 times. I heard something behind me. Praise the Lord. I heard something. But, amen. I'm the only one down here. That's why I'm like. But you know, sometimes angels, they're loud. It's my kids. It does not hit me. Those are the angels. That's what I hear. That's what I'm hearing about me. Let me hurry up. All right, so they put all these different titles into one character. It frustrates me. Now, I recently saw a few movies kind of like packed together. In particular, Jurassic World sticks out to me. I love the whole Jurassic Park franchise. Of course, I'm always going to have a soft spot for the first one because that was the year of my upcoming. You feel me? Like, I remember going to movies with my mother to see that. I remember, I was telling you because I was a kid, I remember the kid part's the best. Like the kids being stuck in the car and it's upside down. They're like, ah, you know, like they're screaming. I was so peed off at that little girl. Who was not peed off at that little girl? If you weren't, cool. Alright, cool. Whatever. I was peed off. She would have turned off that daggone flashlight. That daggone T-Rex wouldn't have came over. I was peed off at her. I had a crush on her brother back in the day. So, you know, I was like really young. So I was just like, why'd you do that to him? You could have killed him, you know? So, yeah, I was upset. I was upset. But I think the kitchen scene scared me the most. I was like, what the? I knew about cussing because my family were cussers. I'm not playing. They cuss bad. So I knew about cussing, okay? But I wanted to cuss in that theater. And then you had the dinosaur, that long nail. He was like clicking on that counter. Do you remember that part? Oh my God. I thought those kids were done for. Okay. All right. So I love the Jurassic Park world. But the last one really stands out in my mind. That was Jurassic Park that we saw back in the day. And then it became Jurassic World with these last few films with, who was that? Chris Pratt. And then the daughter of like Opie off of Andy Griffin. I can't think of her name. I just know that her dad is Don. Is it Don? Darren, write it. That's my husband. Hi, how are you? Youthy Mick, thank you so much for joining. I'm trying to think of what his name is. It may not even be Don. I know that he comes off an Andy Griffin show. Opie. It was like young Opie. So his daughter acts now. And she's really amazing. That's the redhead that you see in Jurassic World. If you know her name, put it on there. All right. So when I think of this, I am thinking about that because I recently saw it. And I was kind of disappointed when I saw it from this view. All right. So the black female character is oftentimes in a lot of your action-packed movies and even your rom-coms. She is seen as very stereotypical. Stereotypical being that she may be a surface character, very one-dimensional, not intricate, not complex, not 3D, not 4D, not 5D, not having very much personality, just being the person that... Ron Howard! Thank you, baby. That comes from my husband, who is amazing. See, this is why we vibe. Dude, like he and I, this is a side note, we can be talking and use a movie quote and have him respond back. He'll respond back with a movie quote with me. He recently called me his Siamese twin, and it made my heart just flutter. I was like, oh, I am your Siamese twin. Yes, I am. He's my twin flame. All right. I told you, I get very distracted. When I talk about my husband, Bryce Howard, is that his daughter? Wow, he looked it up. God dang, he's amazing. Yes, yes, and that's mine. Oh, the boy is mine. Yeah, it's mine. I need to give it up. I don't know the whole song. I should, because I was during that time, but I don't know the whole song. Had I known my husband, had Lord had the universe send me my husband right then, I would know the words to that song, because I would definitely be that type that was possessive. There's no joke. I'd be obsessive and possessive. I'd be like, he's mine. He's mine. Because he's just so on point. I love research. He loves research. He looked up the name. Her name is Bryce Howard. Yes, Bryce Howard. So, we see her in the movie, and she's one of the main characters alongside of Chris Pratt. And like I said, I'm looking at both movies and I'm examining it. But in particular, I just saw Jurassic World. And we see that it follows a lot of your stereotypical concepts of what a black female character is. Black female characters being stereotypically the maid, the help, the one who will sacrifice herself to make sure that the main characters make it out alive. The mother, the mammy, the one who is enslaved, the one who has to deal with being in prison and obligated to a certain commitment, regardless if she signed it on paper or not. The criminal, the gangster, the slut, the whore, the one who wears red at night. This is generally what, or the voodoo witch doctor type. This is, or the church lady. The one who's like, you come on over here, you children, and I'll give you guys some candy. No, that's not smart. That's not. What would hers be? I'll tell you what, I made me some collard greens, and you know, you can come on over and have you a little bit of that. But I'll tell you what, you're not going to be over here messing with grandma. That's not quite the voice I'm looking for. I can't get her voice. My husband and I, we do voices, so I'm trying to figure out, how do I do grandma's voice? Is that the one who's like, I'll get my switch and I'm going to whoop your ass? Well, that's the grandma voice. She's like, don't mess with Big Mama, I'm gonna whoop your ass. I got me a whole bunch of collard greens. Let me take that collard green, smack it on your ass, and then I'm gonna take that switch. Yeah, so there you go. Grandma, woo! Took me a while to get her. I usually can, get that particular voice a little easier. So nonetheless, these are some of the stereotypes of what we see Black characters and Black female characters in specificalities here in Northern America. This is what we see her like. This is what we see her like in our Western culture. So it's important as writers, guys, as play enthusiasts, as photographers, as producers, as directors, whatever you're doing storyline-wise, it's important that we have characters that are textualized, developed, examined, study, research, expanded, layered, given complexities, flaws, and character arcs, climaxes, and emotional roller coasters. And yes, Darren and David can come on down and make those sandwiches. Do you hear me? They can make those sandwiches. I have a feeling that was the question. They can make the sandwiches. All right. Giving complexities, flaws, character arcs, climaxes, and emotional upheavals. All right. We need for our characters to have complexity. So if you're saying right now, and I'm pretty sure there's someone either right now or you're watching this on rewind, and you're like, I do photography with fashion. This doesn't relate to me. I like your voice. I like what you have to talk about. You study, you research. Okay, fine. But me being in the dog community, or me being in this community, or me doing this doesn't really relate because I don't do that. But listen, how many people have created these beautiful, amazing photos of characters that have Black characters either look like they're made of a butler, a server, or like they were gay, like that was the only character they could play, or like they were a whoremonger or a whore, like they just escaped slavery. How many people have taken photos, and they can be fashion photos, guys, fashion photos, and the people look like they came straight off the plantation. It happens. And don't feel bad about it. If you don't know, you don't know. You didn't even realize you were taking photos like that. Or you have a photo, and every time whenever you take the photo, you got all your white, American, Caucasian, Anglo-Saxon, whichever race that you want to go by. You have all of your lead characters and even extra characters right at the front of the photo. You can do this with dolls easily. And then you have your one Black extra in the back. And she's like way in the back. And in your mind, you're like, I really don't like this particular doll style or doll brand. And she's one of the only other characters that I have that's of a diverse race. You don't think anything of it. But for us looking, we're like, I only see one that looks like me. Right? So all of us may do it to a certain degree and not know it. That's why this is important. This is important beyond just being like, well, this doesn't relate to me because I'm not Black, I'm not African American. It doesn't relate to me because I don't even know what a stereotype is. A stereotype is whenever you have that extra doll and you just put them in the back. It doesn't have to be extra brand. Just like a doll that you see is like a token. Like I'm gonna put her back here because she reminds me of Becky. You know what I mean? Like Becky's cool. I like Becky. And you may have good intentions, but for us, we see the photo and we're like one Black doll. And the reason I feel like that because we're like there's more of us than just the one, right? But what I need you to understand is that stereotypically, there's always only been one or none. You've heard me talk before. I was the only, guys, hear me? And I say this in love, the only Black female to graduate from my high school. I went to that school from 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. We moved a whole lot. I went to 8 different schools before college. We moved a whole lot. Hi, Daily Adventures of Ash Harbor. Hey, girl. Check out her page. She's amazing with the crochet. None of my girls have on their crochet hats today, but you oftentimes will see Heidi wearing hers. She also has crochet purses and clothes and bikinis. I have a crochet purse for her. She's amazing. Makes earrings as well. Check her out. Lovely soul. Beautiful person. That's Daily Ash Harbor. Daily Adventures of Ash Harbor. And she also has a storyline too. We talked before. Check out our live. It may be erased on this page. Check it out. Make sure it's not. But it's definitely on YouTube. Check it out. Check it out. Hey, sweetie. Hey to you too. So I just want you guys to understand that stereotypically we've always been seen as not significant, not important. Going to be in the back of the picture. So whenever we see that, it's like a reminder. And you don't know that because you don't think like us. That's why we're having this conversation right here. And then we don't know because we don't think like you. And that's why we need a dialogue, right? We need to think and understand each other by communication. So when we see these shows, it becomes stereotypical. It's important, like I said, that the characters have all these different complexities. And the reason why is because your characters need to be relatable. Oh, snap. I just got a note from my director. Alright, so your characters need to be relatable. And how do I make my characters relatable? There needs to be some type of obstacle, guys. Some type of obstacle. Want, a need that any and everyone can relate to, regardless of their race, gender, age, culture, creed, societal hierarchy, political background. There needs to be a need and a want that really does put into the focus humanity. An example of such, it would be what I relate to daily, parenting. The good, the bad, and the ugly sides of parenting. I'm telling you, when we talk about parenting cross-culturally, we can pretty much all relate. I have seen my husband, when we used to get food stamps a long time ago, some people know about assistance and some people don't. We don't do it anymore. But praise the Lord when we had it. Nonetheless, he would sit there in the office and in doctor's office, and this was like so long ago. But he would be in the doctor's office and he would be able to talk to people no matter what race that they were about kids. And they would literally be across from each other, the two dads, and just be like, because they understood each other. They didn't have to speak the same language. Parenting is one of those things that you don't have to speak the same language to be able to be like, all right, you're driving me crazy. I don't know what to do. And they're, it's just like, same here. I'm telling you, we understand each other. That's the language we understand. The issue is that even in Christian movies, blacks and African Americans, Afro Americans, whatever you want to go by, I'm telling you that we are often depicted as gangsters, criminals, drug addicts, maids, butlers, servants, the oppressed community, poor, in poverty, right? We're often depicted in this way. And that black female characters are often depicted as these very strong, natural looking, like no makeup, stud types. When we talk about stud, we talk about somebody who is emasculine, who will sacrifice herself for the cause, even if she got involved without the choice, or she is seen as loose, as a slut, as a whore, as a woman of the night. And all these characters are very shallow, very one-dimensional. Like, even if she has makeup on, she's very one-dimensional. Not a lot of complexities to her. We don't get to see how she is a hypocrite of herself, or of how her past has now influenced her experience in this now. We don't get to see what her background is like. We don't get to see her history. She's rarely appreciated or thanked. David, come here. Hold on real quick. Sending a message to my team right now. Oh, sorry. So as we're working this out all together. Like I said, I knew this would be a little bit of a longer live, but it's such a pressing live. And so I just want you guys to see that a lot of times these characters are not seen as the what would be the best way of saying this, like the Southern Belle. Like, I just need so much help. I can't get this done by myself. I need you to open the door for me. Like, you don't see that with her. Aww, they leave it as Harper said. You're so sweet. Thank you. Your girls are so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Purple Consular, for joining. I told you, this is a friend of friends right here. Purple Consular, thank you so much for joining. But yeah, so you don't really see these type of characters who are more of your emasculine characters of being able to have a background origin story, or there was something that happened to where she is who she is now, right? All right. So, thank you. Let's see here. She is rarely appreciated or thanked. This is seen in such movies as Conan with Grace Jones. And then all the way from that past time to our present time, where we had the Jurassic Park franchise and the character that they had. Oh my gosh, I think her name was Kayla. I could be wrong. I should have wrote it down. But her character is not appreciated. Her character is not thanked. Like, she literally risked her life. She risked her helicopter. She risked her parachute for the sake of the characters making their destination and rescuing this little girl and getting the dinosaur DNA. She is not thanked one time. She is not appreciated one time. She is a more emasculine character throughout. She is not explored. She is not examined. I really thought, and my husband really thought, because we talk about movies all the time, we really thought that her character was going to be differently connected to the movies. There was a character that they could have connected her to easily, who was on that same film, and they didn't. And I was like, wow, really? I was disappointed. And I was definitely disappointed that in this present day time, we are still dealing with this archetype of Grace Jones. And I love Grace Jones, don't get me wrong. Grace Jones made a way for so many different black females and for females, period. You talk about burning bras. Come on now. All right, the 70s, burning bras, women's independence. I'm telling you, she spoke for what women's independence is. If you've ever seen any of her live art shows, and I didn't see it personally because I wasn't old enough, just real talk, you know what I mean? Not to make anybody feel a certain way, but I wasn't old enough. I didn't get a chance to see her shows. But I saw it in rewind on video, all right? And I'm like, what? This is what she did? How did she get away with this? We would not have the women entertainers, and I'm not talking about porn. I'm talking about like the women that you watch on your different channels, your different music channels, you know, if it's the country music television channel or if it's, you know, rap and R&B, you wouldn't have those musicians and artists and the things they do in their music videos or movies. Reese Witherspoon, I love her. I have always loved her since she was like 7 or 8 and an actress. I'm not new to this, dog. Reese Witherspoon's the stuff, okay? I'm sorry. All right. But you wouldn't have them and the things that they do in movies without a Grace Jones. Look her up if you don't know her. But in Conan, her character was not appreciated. Her character was not respected. Her character was emasculine, and yet those guys were trying to take it from her. They were trying to rape her and abuse her and beat her. And, you know, Conan did come and save her. But throughout that movie and throughout the franchise, you just see her, you know, especially first Conan, doing so much. But yet doing so much for the sake of the primary white protagonist character and making it to his mission and destination. I'm not upset with it. This is the blueprint of Hollywood scripts. It needs to change. All right. So we see that black characters are often completely ignored. Where do we see that, you say? Well, we see that in series such as Friends. We all love Friends. I got a white couch right here. I love Stinky Cat on the guitar. Don't play with me, okay? I love me some Friends. I love me some Friends. But how many black characters can you name? And don't give me one that was that one. What was the name? How many black characters have we really seen on Friends that was a friend to the friends? None. None. I mean, just real talk. There is none. And then my earring dropped right there. And I did not stage that. There is no like anything around me to stage it. That dropped right then to be a reminder to you, like literally. So you could go back and you go, how did her earring drop? There was like no one there to drop it. There is no particular like digital technical effect to make that drop. That drop is a reminder to you to remember there were no black friends on Friends. They had no friends that were Indian, they were Chinese, they were Hispanic. It was this white utopia, like literally a white American utopia. They didn't have Dutch, they had French. They had no friends that were of a different continent. Like literally. Seinfeld, let's name a black character. Well, there was that Elaine had a black boss one time. Do you know his name? Do you know if he was married? Did he have kids? What did he do? We know he was higher up, but what was his title? What were his pet peeves? Every character on Seinfeld had a pet peeve that was so big that it became like the whole freaking 30 minutes. And I love Seinfeld. Frasier. Black people, brown people of any race or origin. Non-existent. Non-existent. And it's as if there is this utopia whereupon everyone is the same. And they're the same. And I love these shows. I love these shows. I'm not coming at you from me watching trailers of these shows. I come at you coming from a perspective of I grew up on these shows. I watched these shows when they were new. When they used to say, come back next Friday to see the conclusion. That kind of stuff. Married with Children. Did you see a black person? How many? What were their names? Were they married? Did they have children? I think there was like one guy later on throughout the season. I loved it. I laughed. Al Bundy was I loved it. I loved it. Hey! It's my sweetie. I have to say hi. Come give me this. He just shaved his hair. And it looks so sexy. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. So I love these shows. If the reality of it is that the diversity is completely ignored or lacking in this series. And in so many other shows, that's the same. I mean, it's just real talk, and we've accepted it because this is societally acceptable, and it is culturally acceptable. Blackish, the series Blackish. I'm talking about you. I didn't get a chance to watch a whole lot of your show, only because anybody who's watching who comes from Blackish, or you love the show Blackish, or director or producer, or you have anything to do with the staff, of the show, didn't get a chance to watch a whole lot of you. Just real talk. Checking to see what's going on in the studio. Didn't get a chance to see a whole lot of Blackish, and that's just because they dealt with more adult themes. And we have younger kids. And I don't have a problem with it at all. But we do have younger kids, and we're kind of like, guardian them, making sure that what they see and hear and receive is right. And then Blackish had a lot of strong messages, very good messages, great for us as adults, and great for kids as well. And I'm glad they did what they did. But we just had to talk to some of our kids as we explore those concepts. So we're still in the process of watching it. Blackish became a residential hit comedy. And for that matter, also Abbott Elementary, which my husband and I enjoy. We watch it on reruns on the YouTube. And when we can catch it on, when it's running live, we try our best to do that too. We got 10 kids. We can only do what we can do. How are you doing upstairs? I hear them. It's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. I'm almost done. I'm literally like one point right here. See, he's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Baby is so cool about stuff. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 points though. He's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right. That's why we got 10 kids. That's why we have 10 kids. Because he's not like coming down here to tell me to stop. He was just coming down here to take care of business. He's like, don't worry about it. It's easy to have 10 kids with someone like that. It's easy. Like, how did that happen? 10 kids, 15 years, how did that happen? Easy. When you got somebody like that, it's easy. So yeah, he's like, keep going, keep going. So Blackish, for that matter. Abbott Elementary looked like Cher. Lemon was right there. Darlene Washington 3911. Hey, thank you so much for joining. I'm gonna send you a wave if Instagram lets me, and it did lit me. So thank you for joining. Blackish became a residential comedy, as well as, for that matter, Abbott Elementary. You can still catch that now. Blackish did discontinue their show, but they do have reruns, I do believe. And then, of course, Abbott Elementary you can still catch live every week. Not live like what we're doing right now, because we're all together, right? We're like, but Abbott, you know, it's going to be pre-recorded, but it's still a new season. There we go. So because characters and the storyline illustrate and reflect scenes of our daily humanity. So these shows relate to people right now because it reflects scenes of our daily humanity, which we are all each able to relate to. And it only highlights the mundane as hilarious, right? So the things that you kind of will go through throughout your day that may not be as funny, maybe nerve-wracking, maybe frustrating. You see something similar on Blackish, or you see it on Abbott Elementary, and you're like, oh my God, I just went through that last week. That just happened to me today. I remember someone else I knew had that happen, and you laugh, or you're like, wow, you're intrigued because it relates to you. And that's why these shows have value and merit in this now society and in our community. And when I say our, I mean our. Like, I'm hugging and embracing, no matter what your race, creed, value, gender, anything of that is. I'm hugging you because it's our. It's us. All right. So it only highlights the mundane, and we laugh about it because we can relate to it. You okay?
Yes, the chair fell.
No worries. Just making sure you're okay. All right. That's my second oldest. Told you I got 10. Is the first oldest upstairs?
He's out here with me.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Cool. All right. So they're making those sandwiches. They're making the sandwiches. All right. I don't have a song for you on that. I'm sorry. That's the best I can get. All right. So Black History Month originally began by Carter G. Woodson. And I'm going to show you a picture of Carter G. Woodson. He's on page 89 of the Black Heroes book by Alicia Norwood. Well, I was talking to you guys about Brandy a little earlier. Her last name is Norwood, right? Or Norwood, I think. Norwood? I think it's Norwood. Alicia Norwood. Now, I came to you from page 89. Here goes a photo of Carson G. Woodson. You know, look him up. So we talk about that he is the father of Black History Month. This is from the book. It's a children's book. But, honey child, you can read a children's book. Okay? I have nothing against it. Put it in your bookshelf. Put it in your library, okay? And, of course, we are so blessed with the internet. I tell my kids all the time, like, thank God for the internet. I got a question. I Google it. I look it up. And it pops right up. Back in the day, though, your girl used to go to a library. I used to frequent the library all the time. And we had a little ice cream shop, ice cream parlor, right next to the ice cream, or, right next to the bookstore. Ooh, I was in heaven. Yeah. I'm in heaven. Yeah. When I love that song. And I'm telling you, I was in heaven. I could go to the bookshop right there at Mid-City Mall and slip out and go right there to, the ice cream parlor. And it was old school ice cream parlor. Like, it was just anything you can think of old school. It was set up almost like It's a Wonderful Life. And when I would go, I would feel like I was there before. Brooke the Silly joined. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. I would feel like I was there before. It's a little bit off subject, but I'm telling you, I would go and I was just like, wow. And it felt so comfortable. It didn't feel like it didn't feel like, oh, I've been here before. It wasn't like a memory. Like you have some right now, like it's like a deja vu memory. But it felt like it was like a continuum from what I had already experienced. I loved it. That, ice cream shop. I loved it. But I stayed in the library. Now I can just Google it. So I'm telling you, Google Carter, one word, G period, Woodson. I'm going to put his name down here in the bottom, Father of Black History Month. It's important for you to know. Like I said, I'm going to go way back to the beginning. This all began because you guys are coming and you're seeing all these different photo challenges, all these different themes about Black History Month. And you may be going, why am I seeing this? Why is this a big deal? What is Black History Month? I have Black friends. I don't see why they have to have a whole month. I don't hear a month about my culture, my race, my gender, my creed, my nationality. That's what we're talking about. No one's being judged because this is about us together. Get in that hug. Get in that hug. There you go. Drinking the last bit of my tea. I talk so much. Tea is so important, especially with lemon. Especially with the lemon, because my husband told me today, because I was like, the lemon absorbs all my tea. He was like, supposed to. Go ahead and drink the, just, suckle on the fruit to get, like the rest of it. I was like, it absorbs it. But talking a whole lot with kids and projecting my voice aloud to my children. And, being, just having all these wonderful ideas and concepts to talk about with my husband. And with you guys, and then teaching my children because I homeschool. So teaching and talking, I use my voice a whole lot. And then already having been a teacher and having been a dance instructor, it's like all those years of just talking and doing, acting and doing, work as a comedian. I talk a whole lot. I didn't really realize it. So tea is important. If you're a vocalist, if you talk often, you sing, oh my God, tea is great, right? We're like tea for life. That's like a new tea for life. That's a new hashtag. Come on now. All right, tea for life. Black History Month, we've already talked about Carter G. Woodson, how he's the father of Black History Month and why it was so important to him. One of the things that we may or may not have discussed is that Black History Month originally was celebrated for 1 day. 1 day. Then it was expanded to a week, and now we currently have a whole month. And it is a time, guys, to reflect upon and embrace and to celebrate the many achievements that Black Americans made in America as well as globally. And I just want to wrap this up by saying how all the characters, because I talked to you earlier about compact character, that's whenever they say, you know what, let's look at the characters, or I should say the groups of people that have been marginalized, that have gone through disparities, that have been discriminated against, and let's put them all in one character so they will then bundle and compact and deliver to us, or better yet, throw at us a character that is Black, female, mixed with Latino, or Latina, and that is disabled, and she's Latin, and her best friends are drag queens, and she's depressed. I'm creating a character for someone if you don't have it. But nonetheless, they'll do that, and then they'll make them very superficial, very strong, although they're in a wheelchair, they can do whatever they put their mind to, and they get it done, and they can, save the whole people, but yet they see themselves as so minimalized and marginalized. They don't have to have the credit because they're humble, and they're also, guess what, Christian. We bundle. Hi, Barbies and Griff. Thank you so much for joining. We bundle those characters. We bundle them. And then we expect the audience to empathize and sympathize and not give a ding that those characters were bundled. Right? This is what I want you guys to think about the most. And for myself, as a storyline producer and writer, to understand that all characters deserve their space. All characters deserve their space. All characters deserve to exist. They deserve to have a space to exist. They deserve to be seen. They deserve to be perceived. They deserve to be viewed. They deserve to be acknowledged. They deserve to be viewed. And they deserve to be respected. Right? Communicated. They deserve to be communicated. And then they deserve to be, guess what? Translated as human. They deserve to be translated as human. That's why we have the Black History Month. Tell it, girl. You inspire me. Thank you, Barbies and Griff. Thank you. Well, that's what we're talking about today. We need to understand why it is important that Black-centric storyline is important. And I want you, like I said early on, I want you to leave from this live. I want you to leave from this podcast, the story talk, whatever you want to call it, the show. I want you to leave knowing that is more. I want you to understand from the depths of your soul that Black American story is America's story, and therefore, thusly, is your story. You can participate in whatever photo challenge, photo theme you want. Do you understand me? Don't sit there and feel like because your character that you've had in doll form may be the whitest American character, homebred on a farm, and you're going, how in the world can I be able to do a theme that says show your kente print? What is kente? I'm going to tell you right now. Other creators have joined me on here and we talked and we said the key thing is research. Research. What is kente? What is mudcloth? What is soul train? Look it up. I look up stuff. I don't care if it's for something that is of a person's another nationality. I'm going to look it up because I care that much. It makes sense? I shouldn't say I don't care. I care so much and I care that much. I'm going to look it up. How can I be able to integrate that with my kids and with my life? If I don't get on here because of my kids, it's not in a bad way. It's just that I'm with my kids, I homeschool my kids, I'm talking to my kids, I'm feeding my kids, I'm clothing my kids, I'm bathing my kids, I'm washing their hair, I'm braiding their hair. I'm with kids all day. So I don't really always get a chance picking people's ears, picking people's nose. It's true. I don't get a chance to get on here and post sometimes when people have things that may be related to their nationality or their culture. And I would want to, but I'm telling you, even whenever I don't get a chance to post it, I still study it. Because I'm like, what does that mean? And I'm telling you, there's so many different things I have learned from you guys as related to your culture, to your nationality, based off of what you have shared through your photo challenges and photo themes. So much. And I want you guys, of course, to keep doing it. And I want you, too, to see that Black History Month with the virtual flyers, showing the themes, showing the photo challenges, is not to exclude anybody. You can join. This is part of your culture. This is part of American history. Not all of American history is going to be glittery and sparkly and beautiful. And unfortunately, a lot of it is dirty. A lot of it is ugly. Like, how can you still smile? Because you know what? A lot of it is good. A lot of it is good. I look at my kids and I'm like, looking at one coming down right now. And I'm like, a lot of it is good. Looking at the second one come down and I'm like, a lot of it is good. I don't care what the history may look like. A lot of it is good. So that's what we need to understand even when it comes to, and especially when it comes to American history. There's a lot of dirty stuff. But we can't control that. It happened in the past. It happened in the past. We can't control how Columbus came here. We can't control the slave trade. It's done. We're here now. What is it that speaks to us and says that a lot of it is good? What if it speaks to us and says, this isn't just my history? Because just as much as my ancestors were out there picking cotton, slaving in the hot sun, my soul sister, my soul brother, their history is related to that. Because their ancestors allowed it. Their ancestors were on the porch watching it. Their ancestors enforced it. Their ancestors were against it. Their ancestors died for it. They died to be against slavery. We don't talk about that. We have someone right here, and I hope and pray to be able to talk about her during one of our live shows together. And she was a woman of Jewish white history. And she bled and died for justice and for legislation to be equal for all people, regardless of the color of their skin. Well, we don't always talk about that. But that's the importance, once again, of why we have these photo challenges and why we have these photo themes, so we can talk about why history is American history, and why no matter what your race, creed, nationality, culture is, we're all interconnected. We're all sisters. We're all brothers. We all have a responsibility to each other. That's just bottom line. That's just bottom line. So I don't want you to feel like you're outside of these photo challenges or outside of these photo things. Get involved. Do your thing. Have fun. Your creative inspiration is needed. Daily Adventures of Ash Harbor said you're such an inspiration. Thank you, sis. I appreciate that. Like, I take that to heart. That makes me feel good. It makes me loosen me tie. I appreciate it. It makes me feel good. It really, really does. It really, really does. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I am inspired by you guys, by everyone on here. Daily Adventures of Ash Harbor. How you're able to present your story. Such beauty. Such beauty. Thank you. Thank you. And I just want you guys to know that I call you guys my sisters and my brothers, not just out of a lingo or just, trying to be cool. It's not 1970s cool, all right? This is just me relating to you guys as brothers and sisters, because we are this international woven family. We are. And we've been gifted this through the use of internet. Just real talk. Real talk. Internet is all about how you use it. You can use it for bad things, or you can use it for good things. And I'm thankful that we are connected here today. On a good note, like I told you early on, thankful to Mattel for creating these awesome and inspirational dolls that allow us to be able to touch history, even whenever we can't really touch the people who inspire us, who have brought us where we're at right now. I do pray that this conversation, and I hope that this conversation together where you're at has allowed you to be able to see that we're all involved in history, that you're not outside of it. Even if we're of the same melanation, that just because you're of the same melanation doesn't mean that you have to know why we have Black History Month or why these photo challenges and photo themes are present. It may very well be that we're of the same shade or darker or lighter, and you're saying, well, why is it? And I do hope, and it is my prayer, that this conversation today has allowed you to say, one, I have a better understanding of who Carter G. Woodson was and is as the father of Black History Month. Then I have a better understanding of what Black History Month is, number two. And at number three, I feel inspired to at least do one photo that represents a Black History Month challenge or a Black History Month theme. Because there's a lot of different virtual flyers going on. Just jump in. Even if you're like, you know what, I don't want to tag anyone. I'm still new to this. I don't want to offend anyone. I saw someone that recently took Alina Moe's looks Barbie and painted it black. Now, initially, I was like, and some people may go, well, why did you aghast? Why were you taken aback? Because historically we talk about blackface, and I saw it and I was kind of like, oh my God, it's blackface. Because it was, Alina mode is a lighter mode, a Latina, if you will. And then I was like, oh my God, look at the artistry. Look at the work. I have not seen a Lena mode in a darker tone. And when I saw that, I literally fell in love. Not fell in love like I do with my husband, who's Coach Play with an I. So that's different, okay? That's a different love story. But he gives me tickles all over. He does, just thinking about him. It's like tickle. All right. I'm back. Lena Mo in darker complexion is freaking awesome. I was like, oh my God. So once when I was able to see the artistry, I was like, this is so beautiful. But I'm telling you that no matter where we're at in our communities, we do experience this. So it's going to come out either way that, someone may be offended, someone may not. Put your art out there. And that's really my challenge. Look at these photo things. Look at these photo challenges that are coming about on virtual flyers and various people's accounts, or someone that may actually be doing a photo, and they may put at the bottom who they're tagging for the photo challenge. Participate. Participate. Not because I'm saying participate for me. Participate to get involved. That's what I'm saying. Expand and stretch your mind. And you've experienced a lot in your life. I'm more than certain that they put out just 1980s hip hop. We talk about 1980s, and we talk about the whole portion of Brad and all the colors and shapes, the geometric shapes, and workouts was right? We may see our mom and dad's doing, what else am I thinking? 90210, just all that stuff. Anything that's 1982 that we think about, we hop on those challenges. We're like, yeah, we can do it. And we talk about hip hop in the 1980s and 1990s, and it's unless you were part of that culture and you know about Nas and you know about whoever else, then you feel comfortable maybe posing your dolls in rap motion. I remember I'm pretty certain I still follow this account called Salty Monkey. Has anyone ever heard of Salty Monkey? If you have, put it in the comments. If you're listening to this on repeat or rewind, I say rewind because I'm so 1980s and 1990s. I'm like Blockbuster girl. Red Giraffe. Yeah. Big HS. All right. So that's me. That's me. That's why I say rewind. That's authentically me. So you watch this in rewind. You watch this and it's not literally a live. It's pre-recorded. I just want you to think about that. What in fact R&B was, what hip hop was, during that time. So there's an account that was going on called Salty Monkey, and she had these amazing what is it called? Still motion? I think it's still motion. No, it's not slow motion. What do you call that? Husband, help me type it. So officially, BB, thank you for joining. Give you the dance. Hey, I'm going to give you a high wave if it lets me go through. Sometimes Instagram does not let me give a higher wave. And I've heard other accounts talk about this as well. And it's why can't I higher wave? So I give you a shout out. So yeah. Nonetheless, you had these movie companies. That's why I say rewind, VHS chicks. But if you watch this in rewind, I just want you to be able to really be honest about the shows that you've seen, the movies that you've watched. How is the Black character depicted? And then being able maybe possibly to see a 1950s movie and look at, or a 1950s series, and see how is the Black character depicted then. And be able to see still motion. There we go, still motion. Oh, yeah. Is this still motion? Yeah, I think it is still motion I'm thinking of. But yeah, Salty Monkey has some amazing, like, hip-hop still motions. So check that out. I'm hoping that she comes back. She has some really dope stuff. And I don't always say dope, but, like, her stuff was dope. If you ever seen her stuff, it's dope. But yeah, just go ahead and look at the characters and really compare it to some of your favorite shows now. And be like, wow, we still have a long way to go when it comes to how we depict characters in Hollywood, how we depict characters in indie films, how we depict characters on series, how we depict characters in our own storylines. It is not so much for me to say, like, I want you to feel pressured in order to make these kind of characters. I want us to be able to see why Black History Month is being put out there, why it still exists, why it's important to participate, why it's important to see our Black history as our Black history globally, and why it's important to us as a Western nature and nation. This is not just about Black people. I don't care what your race is. Join. Don't be afraid. Participate in these themes. Participate in these challenges. I am not saying this from a biased perspective. I don't have a theme, guys. I'm not hosting okay? I don't have anything hosted right now. Why? Because we have 10 kids. And I'm like so freaking close to like 1,500 on my followers. And a part of me is like, go ahead and have a party. And I want one. I really, really do, guys. But can I host it right now? Our 1-year-old is like very, very controlling. He is so controlling. When he feels me about to move at all, he's just like, where are you going? Where are you going, popcorn? Like, for real. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for the reminder to participate. Participate, participate, participate. I am not biased. My name is not associated or tagged on to anyone's hashtag other than Instagram stories. Check that out. I know I like switch the script, right? Check it out. Put Instagram stories inside of your story. Don't care if it's just one photo, but it has a story to it. Don't feel like you're outside of it. Panic Pixie Dolls and I want you to participate. Check out at Panic Pixie Dolls. Her storyline is amazing. I'm telling you, I love Clueless. When I was in school, and I'm using this only because we were all high school students. Clueless is a high school movie. My favorite is one of the movies that attached me to her and her storyline, as well as her love for Shakespeare. If you've ever seen our live, we've done 2 lives together, and this is at Panic Pixie Dolls, at Panic Pixie Dolls, at Panic Pixie Dolls. Check her out. We talk about William Shakespeare. We talk about our love of his plays. I do believe in a past life that he and my husband fought for the love of me. I am so serious. I'm like, I don't know who I will choose. And then, of course, I always chose my husband. Of course. Always. Never ever William Shakespeare. Bump him. Bump him. After he came into my life, I was, at first I was like, oh, who I choose? And I was like, no doubt, my husband. No matter what his name was. Mercutio, I don't care. I chose you. Okay. So I chose him. Always. Always. Even when it was William Shakespeare. Even when it was William Shakespeare. So, Panic Pixie Dolls and I, we talk about our love of Shakespeare. We talk about storyline. We talk about characters. 2 lives together. Definitely check out YouTube. I want you to like it. I want you to subscribe it. I want you to get the notifications. I want you to save it. And also check it out on Instagram. That's if it's still on Instagram. All right. But we do. We talk about our characters. And one of the things that I love her storyline. So check that out. You want to hashtag that. Hashtag it. Instagram stories. You see it in my stories. You see it in her stories. If you click on that hashtag and you follow it, you'll be able to see anyone else's story. And that was the whole point of us coming together and talking about and creating this particular hashtag. It was to be able to give focus and light to other creators of storyline. And I don't care if you just have one post or if every one of your posts are different. Dude, come on now. Put that hashtag on it. We want to see it. We want to talk about it. We're going to start putting your stories in our story. Yeah, on our Instagram. So when we see your story and you're using that hashtag, we find you in our hashtag Instagram stories. We're going to be putting that in our circle. And we're going to talk about that tonight at 8. Yes. So I just want you guys to know that we're going to be putting that in a story so that other people can also see you as a creator and as a hobbyist. So there you go. Use the hashtag. Hashtags, I know they said are dead, but I still think that they're important. I like them. And I'm telling you, being able to use that hashtag, being able to use the Instagram hashtag, Instagram stories hashtag has really made me expand in my story writing and with my own characters right now with Heidi and Reggie. And I want you guys to see this book. Feast your eyes on this book again, Adult Play Therapy Devotional. It may be backwards, but this is a 60-day soul cleansing devotional and journal. It has journal sheets in it. I'm going to go towards the back so you can see the journal sheet. In what ways can you be gentle with yourself? In what ways can you be gentle with yourself? Prior to that was actually a devotional entry that says accept setbacks just as that. Just as that. Setbacks. Don't take it personal. They are not failures, just areas of improvement. Get on that horse again and try again. Actually, it says get on that horse and try again. And then keep trying. None of us has it all figured out. We are each getting back on our saddles and trying again in some areas or some area of our lives. And then it says, in what ways can you be gentle with yourself? Come on now. If I'm seeing myself as a failure and I'm seeing I could have did this different, having all these different regrets, I definitely need to be gentle with myself. This is an inspired word devotional. This does not come from me directly. I'm telling you, every time whenever I feast on the entries and on the journal and devotional prompts, I'm like, wow, I'm learning. I wrote it, but I'm still learning. It's like, wow, like, yeah, I've only lived this life once. I can't expect to do everything perfect. I don't know what's next around the store. I didn't know we were going to begin this year. My husband was going to have a spider bite and how dramatic that was going to be and how much that was going to impact our household and impact me and emotionally, how that, would make me appreciate him even deeper, and you know what I mean, and then able to have my mother come through and bring medicine for him, and just if I would have known, it would have been different. So this isn't me going, I know everything. This is me saying, this is this one life that I'm living, and even if I lived this life like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times ago, this is still the one time I'm like cognizant to remember. And I want to make sure that I'm not so down on myself that I spend this life being miserable. Be gentle with yourself. Get this book. It's on ebook, guys. And it's not that much. Like, it's pennies. $2.99, $3. Get it. I'm not saying it because I wrote it. I'm saying because every time I read an entry, it helps me. And if I, as the author and co-writer, can say that, come on now. It says R.K. Lemons Weber, that's the author, me, and Sacred Pair. So you know me as Sacred Pair. If you look up Sacred Pair on Amazon, which is where this book is at, you go to Amazon.com. Many of you guys have Prime. Come on now. You're going to get it even quicker. And I do want you guys to know the young ladies who ordered this book already. I want to let you know those books did come in. If any young ladies, young men, I don't care how old you are, you could be 93. Young ladies, young men have ordered, would like to order. I do have a shipment that came in. I am ready to send a signed copy to you. So let me know. I'm going to be writing, DMing you guys. This is so new language to say DM. Writing is not. Remember postcards and letters? That's where I'm at. Okay, postcards and letters. But I will be DMing or emailing you I guess a DM through Instagram to let you know that I need your address so that I can send you a signed copy of this book, the Adult Play Therapy Devotional 60-Day Cleansing Devotional and Journal. I will be doing a giveaway very, very soon of this book. And someone is calling. All right, so that lets me know that it is definitely time for us to end this live. I have had such a great time with you. I'm hoping, and it is my prayer, that this conversation together has allowed us to remain together. Black History Month should never be the time that we find ourselves separated. If anything, this is the time that we need to remember that this is about integration. That in the words of Morgan Freeman, Black history is American history. I love you guys. I thank you. Always remember and look up, know the names of the times in which we, as Americans on this soil, have marched together. Be it for social economic purposes, be it for genderism, be it for race, we have marched arm in arm, linked together like my dolls are right now. And she's just linked with them out of just like excitement and honor and inspiration, right? Touching history. I want us to look back at those documentaries and those times and those videos, those films, those pictures of past when we linked together, arm to arm, and marched together for a difference. Black history is American history. Never ever feel like our history is separate. We're together. And I say that giving you guys the biggest and tightest embrace ever. I love you. I thank you guys for being with me. I'm going to get back to my family, my crew, hop back in with church service because I did go ahead and skip out on church service. Lord, forgive me, so that I could be able to share this time with you. But I feel like this was a God-ordained moment. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Looking forward to your photos. I want to see what kind of stuff that you guys do, the ingenuity that you think of with your Black History Month things and challenges. Big hugs to you too, Barbies and Grip. Also, make sure you put hashtag Instagram stories in your hashtag. We want to see you. We're going to be putting your photos in our story so that you can be able to see yourself as well as for other people to see you too. So we're going to be starting that soon. Hopefully maybe next week. Next week. I squeaked on that. Next week. And I'm just excited. Thank you at Panic Pixie Dolls for having the hashtag with me. I am so excited for what we're about to do. Check it out. If you just click on that link, you just click on that hashtag. I'm telling you, you're going to see some amazing stories from other creatives just like you. You have a great day too. I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday. This is the beginning of the week. Woohoo, we're in 2023.